first thing we'll do, so good evening. We'll review a couple of questions here, and then from there we'll see where we go. Probably 15, 20 minutes. But let's check right here. All right. What is your go-to line in an interview when someone asks you to tell me something interesting about yourself? This one right here, I'll actually kind of pass on that one. 2 days ago, I leased my first apartment, and I believe the apartment complex I signed a lease for tricked me. What can I do about this? I'll pass on that one as well. If the United States were to move in its capital, what city would be the most strategic, logistically, and economical? Um, what do you do if you have an okay job with nice colleagues and then you receive the job offer for a more prestigious but very demanding and stressful position? The salary is 20K more. How would you decide? What is what is it like to lose your biggest customer? Um, why do people look down on Uber or rideshare lifts? Um, how can you survive at work if your boss is not like you? What is the most you have tipped someone? Uh, when stocks crash, what is the best way to profit? What is smart but slightly unethical business strategy? Let's continue onwards on those. All right, I got a bad work review partially for negativity and lack of trust and behind the scenes processes. Should I stay silent if I have a problem in the future, or is it a sign I don't belong at that company? Let's pass on that one. Why do people choose to be waiters and waitresses when it's such a horrendous paying job? Sometimes it's all that's available. Alright, what is the rudest, most disrespectful thing someone has done to you while shopping during the COVID-19 pandemic? Okay, what is the best way to save money by being thrifty? What would you do if during a performance evaluation your manager stated that your coding velocity was way too slow, but you categorically disagreed with the assessment? The idea would be to avoid confrontational stance, but remain firm nonetheless. Alright, is £50,000 a year a good enough salary to live in London? Are there signs that a person will become wealthy in the future? Why do some managers pick on some employees but not others? Let's this one's quite interesting because not that I've been a part of it, but this one right here is interesting. So here we go. Managers can have interesting opinions when everyone else disagrees with them. It was like everyone else agrees, and I was like, no, that's the way. And then the boss was like, no, no, I'm the boss. So like either okay, I see how you interpret this. So this image right here, excuse me, that means the boss is actually working with the workers, right? That he's actually doing some work, and they both disagree, but the boss is like, nope, we're going this way. I don't care. He vetoes. Now here, the boss is just observing the workers. The second image, he's like, you do it, and then it's all right, pushing that way. Here, I like the third one. The coworkers are dragging the boss along. He said, "No, we're gonna do it this way," and actual work needed to be done. Let's see. The the workers are doing the work, and the boss is just shouting orders. This manager is upset, angry, frustrated. His team doesn't listen to him. The almighty knowing uh, person of the work floor. Who would who would the manager pick a fight with? The weakest link. Ah. Why? The manager needs to release his frustration as he feels the above is happening and slaps the weakest link into oblivion. Makes him feel better. He will not touch the leader of the workforce, the strong suit, the best on the floor. Why? Because he knows among employees this guy has respect and other seniors approve of him. So that is why some managers pick on some employees but not others. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's like easy target, right? Have you ever denied a customer's wish or order? As the founder of a company, should you be willing to pay employees more than yourself? Huh. Alright. I want to start any kind of online business that generates a monthly cash flow. What's a quick way to start? Um, uh, when a terminated employee is given the reason we're going in a different direction, what does that mean? Actually, uh, What are the 12 habits that destroy your focus and productivity? Huh. Let me see. Um, let's pass on that one. Actually, yeah, let's pass on that one. What is the weirdest thing you've ever witnessed when signing the lease as a landlord? What are the non-obvious signs of a smart person? Let's read this. So it's always interesting. This one I don't mind seeing the perspective because we can see like what people have talked about here. Smart people are often funny, their handwriting is often bad, and they are often messier than average. They are prone to not hear you when you talk to them, even if they're looking right at you. They were thinking of something else and didn't realize they needed to be listening. Smart people are not necessarily rich. They might have higher than average ability to become rich if that is their focus, but they're likely to value ideas over money and possessions. They are probably there is a probable link between intelligence and creativity, but there are different types of intelligence. So not all smart people will be creative. Probably all creative people though possess some type of above average intelligence. Have you or a coworker been fired, which then caused the company fail? If you order 400 breadsticks at an Olive Garden, can they legally do anything to stop you? Okay. What is the smartest thing you've seen a criminal do? Have you ever asked your boss for a pay cut? What are the most overlooked small business opportunities in today's market? But let's look at this pay cut thing. This is actually quite interesting. I've actually no, let's look at this. All right. Once, a few years ago, the company I was working for was going through a rough patch. The co-founder was the CEO. He announced initially to his leadership team, which included me as his CTO, that he was going to cut his salary to zero in the hopes that we wouldn't have to lay anyone off. Wow. Wow. That's a wow. He's like, I'm the captain, I'll reduce myself to zero to maintain the company. He made it clear that while he appreciated us helping, he understood that all our personal circumstances were different and wouldn't consider it as a negative mark against anyone who said they didn't want to take a cut. Wow. He made it, sorry. I phoned my wife, we worked out what we could manage on. I phoned him, told him the figure, and asked him to make the cut. He was almost in tears at this. This was very a dignified older man, in his 60s at the time, who pretty much came from a generation where men were taught not to show emotion. We got through the rough patch. You better believe that the bonus I got once we were out of it made me very glad I'd done so. He's now in his 70s. We speak once in a while. If ever he decides to come out of retirement for one last startup, he knows I'd join within minutes of calling me. Wow, this guy. That's amazing. Let me just upvote that. Oh, wow, that's amazing. So it's like that's wow. Okay. What are the most overlooked small business opportunities in today's market? Let's continue. My boss has written me up and put me on a 90-day probation with a lot of false information in the write-up. What should I do? She's saying she saw me do things I actually did not do. This is actually interesting because like they could fabricate something right there, or yeah. So you might want to do that. Although what she's doing to you is illegal, she is building a case to fire you. You should document all your work, make pictures or copies to keep at home. You will need these when you sue her for wrongful termination. At the same time, you should be looking for another job during your lunch hours and time away from the office. Unfortunately, unless your boss is replaced, it is probable that you will be terminated in 90 days. So start the job hunting now. Interesting. If you could give one tip to improve me financially, what would it be? What should every adult have by the age of 30? How can I work from home? How do you handle renters using COVID-19 as excuse not to pay rent? Let's see. This is an interesting question too. My lease provides no excuses for no non-payment of rent, and all of my tenants are either still working or still being paid by regular wages by their employer. So far, they're all paying their rent, and none has approached me about any problems. That being said, if I had a tenant who really was affected by a COVID-19 related layoff or job disruption. I would sit down with them and work out a payment plan based on their available resources and sources of income, including unemployment and stimulus money. If I was aware of any resources they hadn't considered, I'd encourage them to look into those. I would consider a temporary rent reduction as of much as a 10 to 15% for at least 2 to 3 months after that. I need to reevaluate the then current market. If it was still depressed, I'd make that reduction effective for the remainder of their lease. If the market was even worse than that, I'd adjust the rent to what the market would support, even if it was lower still than my previous reduction. The market is reality, and pretending otherwise is a recipe for frustration and failure. If it seemed probable that they are unlikely to be able to make the rent even with the reduction, I would encourage them to start looking for less expensive housing more in line with budget they're going to have to adjust to, and would waive any charges for breach of their current lease to allow them to terminate it early. I would also suggest the tenant to take in a broader or consider any request by the tenant to allow them to take in border to help them make rent payments, but the border will have to pass my regular screening. Wow. In other words, I try to handle it with good faith, negotiation, realism, flexibility, creativity, and common sense. All right then. But we'll call the video short here due to short disturbance here. But thank you for watching.